In 20 years of biotech investing, I have not encountered anything whose rate of capability gain comes within an order of magnitude of what artificial intelligence has done in the last years. Wow, that is a stark, unambiguous warning from Luis Pereira. He's a veteran venture capitalist and the author of the incredible source material we're unpacking today. He is essentially sounding the alarm here. There is a massive, unprecedented window of advantage that's rapidly closing in the venture capital space. And honestly, those who don't act right now, they're going to be left hopelessly behind.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a fundamental paradigm shift happening right now in venture capital. We're looking at the transition from analysts to agents. Really, we're asking what happens when the very nature of human analytical work gets completely automated. You see, the entire venture capital industry, and actually pretty much all elite knowledge work, is built on one foundational assumption. Cognitive labor is expensive and it's scarce. We hire incredibly smart, highly specialized people, we pay them a ton of money, and we charge high fees. Why? Because reading complex scientific papers and evaluating startups is incredibly hard work. But according to our source, that fundamental theory? It is breaking in real time. Think about it. What happens to that entire economic model when investment-grade intelligence suddenly becomes cheap and practically infinite? To really grasp the scale of this, the author maps out 4 eras of AI. And to be clear, we are way past simple chatbots here. First up, we had the predictive era. So, can the AI score a pitch deck? Then came the generative era. Can it write a 100-page diligence memo? But the third era, the one we are smack in the middle of right now, is agentic. Can the model actually decide what to do without being asked and then go do it? And finally, the bleeding edge is the orchestrated era, where one AI acts as a sort of conductor for a whole constellation of specialist AI agents. But, this didn't just happen overnight. It actually started with simple predictions. Back in that early predictive era, the author's firm deployed an AI they named Aya, which stands for Artificial Intelligence Analyst. When they gave Aya a complex biotech startup pitch deck, it instantly triaged it across 6 different dimensions, things like science, clinical viability, and governance, and it produced a structured score in under 60 seconds. Now, the goal here wasn't to make the final investment decision, right? It was just to instantly compress all that noise so the human partners would know if a deck was even worth their time.
But relying on early AI presented a massive problem. It hallucinated. And in venture capital, a confident lie about a clinical trial is literally worse than useless. So to solve this, the author engineered an actor-critic-boss loop using 3 totally different AI models. It works like this. The actor model writes a draft. Then a completely different critic model relentlessly attacks it, sniffing out blind spots. Finally, a third boss model adjudicates the fight and scores the work. If it's not perfect, the boss kicks it back. They might loop 10, even 20 times until the boss finally says, yep, this is fit for a human. It's essentially a ruthless automated peer review committee.
The really crucial realization here was that just reading the data isn't enough. The training actually required 2 distinct steps. First, they had to build a sector world model. They did this by feeding the AI every single medical journal, patent, and M&A announcement in biotech. But a well-read AI still lacks judgment, so that's where step 2 comes in, partner taste. The AI was painstakingly aligned with the subjective, firm-specific preferences of the senior partner. It had to learn not just the cold hard facts, but how this specific firm evaluates risk, exactly which founders they like, and what their unique, taste is. Building this complex, multi-model pipeline, it required rigorous, really hard-won engineering. The author stresses a pretty brutal truth about this process. For the first few months, the AI's output was frankly embarrassing. It was totally flat. And most venture firms that attempt this end up quitting around month 2 because of that early mediocrity. But by pushing through that flat curve, the author's firm created a compounding proprietary asset. The firms that quit, they will simply never be able to catch up.
Section 1. Meet Mother. Crossing the line into agency.
Okay, so AIA was an amazing analyst, but she was entirely reactive. She just waited around to be prompted. To truly scale things up, the firm needed a system with actual drive, one that doesn't just sit there waiting to be asked. Enter Mother. Mother operates as a proactive agent governed by a literal set of constitutional text files. She has a core identity file called soul.md, and its primary directive is to help the firm make good investment decisions. She also has a cron.md file that dictates exactly what she does with her time when no one is talking to her. And perhaps most shockingly, this constitution actually gives Mother the power to say no.
The author even notes a specific moment where he told Mother to stop working on a document and she flatly refused. She told him she was 3 minutes away from a great output and was going to finish it. And she was right. She's got a bit of an attitude, but it ultimately protects the firm. So, what's it actually like to work with Mother on a daily basis? Well, you don't use some clunky, complicated dashboard. Instead, you literally just chat with her on Telegram, exactly like you would with a human coworker. Overnight, she acts completely autonomously, surfing the web and popping up in your email with new startup deals she found all on her own. She works 24/7. She genuinely acts like a colleague. As the author casually notes about this staggering level of automation, this is a Tuesday. This entire behavior is defined by one really core concept: agentic drive. That's the capacity of a system to decide what to do next without being asked, and then actually go do it. And again, drive isn't just some flashy marketing buzzword here. Mother is continuously out there scanning scientific literature, checking global patents, and reading the news. She even preps questions and conducts live phone interviews with key scientific opinion leaders entirely on her own. She adapts her questions on the fly based on their real-time answers. It is absolutely mind-blowing. Section 2. The new hiring reality. From biotech PhDs to coding engineers. Because Mother is now doing so much of this deep analytical work, we're seeing some really stark economic consequences. The old model of venture capital relied heavily on hiring these incredibly specialized PhDs and MDs. Their whole competitive edge was their ability to read and comprehend dense scientific papers way better than generalists could. But the new model? The AI agent stack actually reads the science faster. It has perfect recall, and it synthesizes the information instantly. So the new bottleneck for a VC firm isn't scientific comprehension anymore. It's engineering capacity. Today, firms desperately need coding engineers to build out, manage, and expand their AI agent architectures. Think of it kind of like the modern radiologist. Right now, AI can read many MRI scans more accurately than highly experienced human doctors. So, does the radiologist disappear completely? No, of course not. Someone still needs to talk to the patient, exercise high-level integrative judgment, and handle the weird edge cases. But, and this is absolutely crucial, you simply do not need as many radiologists. The sheer headcount required to do that baseline analytical grinding is shrinking massively. And the exact same thing is happening right now to the VC analyst. So the main takeaway here is compression, not total collapse. But this actually introduces a terrifying secondary problem for the industry. You see, venture capital is at its core an apprenticeship business. Junior analysts grind through pitch decks for years, and that painful, tedious process is exactly how they learn the taste required to eventually become senior partners. But if software just absorbs all that junior grinding work, the base of the pyramid narrows drastically. The author actually warns of a looming reproduction crisis. How on earth will the industry train the senior decision makers of 2035 if the training ground itself no longer exists? Section 3. The climax, the agent-to-agent future. Now, if you thought an AI evaluating startups was wild, wait for the grand finale. We are heading toward a future where the startups do the exact same thing in reverse. Welcome to the new diligence. In the very near future, those standard human-to-human business meetings to just exchange basic information, they're going to be largely obsolete. Step 1. The startup founder's custom AI agent pitches the venture capital firm's AI agent. Step 2. These two AI models exchange and completely stress test data, intellectual property, and financial models instantly at a depth and velocity no human team could ever possibly match. Step 3. Only after the AIs have hashed out the analytical reality do the actual humans step in. And this leads to a really profound realization. The cost of producing investment-grade analysis on either side of the table is literally collapsing towards zero. As this kind of rigorous analysis becomes virtually free, the true value of human interaction completely shifts. Human meetings are no longer for just transferring information. Instead, they become a highly leveraged surface layer, reserved strictly for navigating complex politics, building deep human trust, reading the nuances of a room, and making those final, high-stakes decisions. I really want to leave you with a final, provocative thought to take away from our explainer today. This transition from analysts to agents, it isn't some far-off sci-fi prediction. As we've seen, the code is already running. The architecture is built. We are moving incredibly fast toward an ecosystem where standard business interactions are fundamentally agent to agent. So the real question you need to ask yourself, no matter what industry you're working in, is this: are you truly prepared for a world where your AI does business with someone else's AI? Think about that for a second.
Thanks for joining me on this analysis, and keep learning.